How are we doing, guys? We're back with another player ratings video. Crystal Palace 1, Leeds United 1 from earlier on today. And with Mr. Miles, as always. So let's get straight into it. Let's get into it with Mr. Illan Meslier to start with. Phil, general feelings on Illan Meslier?
Yeah, I mean, great game, I suppose, in general. It's another draw. It's a point, I suppose. We've come away with just minutes in the legs, I suppose. But Meslier, I didn't think it was his best performance, I'll be honest. I mean, he didn't really have too much to do with his hands, but I thought distribution, not the best. So if we're going on numbers, I went slightly under par under average. So I've gone 5.5 on the numbers. But yeah.
Okay, I was pretty much the same really with Meslier. I don't really think Meslier had anything to do that I can think of really. So I was going to go more down the 6 route. I think we can agree 5.5, 6. We can rank that up to a 6. Come on, let's rank it up to a 6.
Yeah, like I said, it was literally just a few of them balls just straight out for a throw in again, and unsure in terms of his distribution, but. In shot stopping, there was nothing to mark him on, I suppose. So, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Rasmus Christensen, who played at right back again. I thought defensively he was pretty much fine, to be totally honest with you. I didn't think he did anything too wrong defensively. Going forward, though, it's not quite fully clicked. I think he's definitely improved us going forward, but it's not fully clicking where it's him himself creating chances. It feels like he's just linking up quite nicely. It's not a lot of overlapping happening at this moment in time. Phil, what's your feeling on Christensen?
I think I've been really impressed with him the first couple of games. I wasn't as impressed today, but I generally think today was not as despite obviously a better result. I actually thought we played better against Villa in patches. I thought today was just a bit dour at times, a bit of a boring game to watch for large periods, but I think we tried something a little bit different, I suppose, in terms of the way we went about the system, perhaps. But yeah, same as you, mate. Defensively sound. Going forward, I thought him and Aaronson obviously linked up well together, and with Aaronson in front of him on the right hand side. But in terms of like being creative force, like the last 2 or 3 games, I've been saying every time, like the creativity from the fullback areas has been really encouraging. Obviously, the Blackpool game, I gave fair play man of the match. Then the 2 games since, I thought Christensen's been really good down that right, but we didn't create anywhere near enough chances from those positions today, I didn't think. So yeah, 6.5 from me, slightly above average, but the last couple of games he's been up on 7s and 8s, so not quite as high.
Yeah, I did go a 7, to be fair. I thought this defensive game just about warranted a good game kind of thing. I thought it was decent today, but yeah, I still think he can go up another level. But I think he's been one of our better players in pre-season, to be totally honest. So, okay, let's move on to the centre backs, Robin Koch and Diego Llorente. I'm going to give them both a very similar rating, to be honest with you, Phil. I don't think either particularly defended great in the high line, if I'm being honest. 6 for me. For both, to be honest with you. I thought both were pretty average, and certainly Robin Koch, this was his weakest game of pre-season so far.
Yeah, no, I'd 100% agree with that. I think from the first half in particular, I think things changed a bit in the second half, but I had a noticeable difference in the back 4 and everybody else. Going forward, I actually thought, we pressed really well. I thought we were passing the ball around nicely, looking to create some chances. I think that got disrupted, obviously, like I've said in the last few games. As soon as those substitutions started creeping in, the second half was nowhere near as good as the first for me. But yeah, the 2 centre-backs I had as quite low. I had Llorente slightly lower than Robin Koch just for some of them shaky moments, but obviously Llorente, I think, played the full 90 in the end. Koch only played the first 45, so maybe like those bits of letting the ball slip under his feet, they creeped in the second half. So yeah, I went 6 for Koch and 5.5 for Llorente.
Okay, let's move on to Pascal at left back. I thought it was okay, to be honest. I thought he had a decent enough game. I'm kind of like 6. Yeah, about a 6 out of 10 for Pascal.
Yeah, I can agree. I've gone same number, but yeah, I'd say he's definitely looked a lot better in the middle so far in pre-season. And realistically, for me, I think the best left back we've actually seen in pre-season that is still fit. I will give Junior Firpo his credit. You know, he played well in the game that he was involved in, but since he's been out, I actually think 𝐃𝐎𝐖𝐍𝐋𝐿 looked like probably the better suited left back in the minutes that he's got so far. I didn't think Pascal had a great game, and obviously going forward, it's great to see him stretching those massive legs of his, but whipping balls in from the edge of the box in like Jack Harrison territory isn't his strength. And when he was doing that, the balls in weren't very good. Defensively, obviously, offers you so much more than Junior Firpo can in that position. But yeah, I just gave him a 6. There wasn't really too much to write home about, apart from terrible deliveries into a box with nobody in it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think we're pretty much in agreement on that particular position. Let's move on to the midfield two, which started the game. Adam Forshaw and Tyler Adams. That is right, isn't it? Yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
Obviously, Forshaw came off with another injury, but luckily we have got some depth in midfield, so it's not as much of a concern as what it was. But I thought both were okay. Again, it felt like a team of average performances today. Really, it wasn't very encouraging today, if I'm being honest. And I do agree with you, Phil, that the Villa game, despite the result, was still more encouraging because you could see what we were trying to do. But today, it felt a little bit. Yeah, it felt like the first preseason game. What you'd expect to see from your first preseason game. It did feel a little bit confused today. And the fact that Palace had a lot of youngsters on the pitch as well, were nowhere near at full strength, and were probably the better team in the second half. I don't think midfield was a part of the pitch we ever really looked totally in control with. So I'll probably give both Adams and Forshaw a 6, to be honest.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I went considerably higher on both, to be honest. I thought both had a good game. Yeah, I mean, I went 7 for Forshaw. I didn't think he had as good a game as Adams, but I actually gave Tyler Adams man of the match. I gave him an 8 out of 10. Maybe that's a bit high on, I'm not sure, but yeah, I thought a few good tackles in there. The press, obviously, the way that they involved themselves in the possession game with the back four as well, but sort of the way that they help with that press from the front four. I quite liked the way that they were both pinging balls into Joffrey up front at times in the second half when neither of them won. What am I talking about? Bamford, sorry. But yeah, I quite liked Tyler Adams in particular today. I thought he was one person in a really poor game that stood out to me as being probably the best player on the pitch. I'd say from both teams, like, they didn't really have any quality either.
Okay, fair enough. Listen, there was some nice touches from Tyler Adams, but I actually genuinely thought he was better against Villa. I thought he was excellent in that particular game. But today, it just wasn't a game with high quality. I think it's kind of been mentioned in the comments a couple of times. It wasn't a game of high quality, in all honesty. So, yeah, okay, let's move on to the front four as such. The right-hand side of the front four, certainly to start with, seems to be Jack Harrison. Not good at all today, to be honest with you. I didn't feel harsh, maybe, but I'm going to go a 5 out of 10, to be honest. I thought it was a pretty poor performance from Jack Harrison, in all honesty. I don't think there was enough quality on that side of the pitch at all today, really. And especially when you're cutting in on his left foot, seeing what he could do in that kind of Rafinha role. Disappointing for me today, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I'm again at the very opposite end of the scale. I thought, for me, his rating's gone down a lot in the second half when obviously he ends up at left back because defensively, I don't think he should be playing left back. He's worse than Firpo defensively, probably. But going forward, I thought he was good. I thought maybe I'm marking a bit for like the way that the front four have seemed to get like a bit of cohesion together about the way that they press. I think they all go together. The triggers are really good, and you can tell that they're all very much in sync. And the way that they swap places. Obviously, Harrison maybe were on the right for the first 15 minutes while Sinistero was on, but then obviously more naturally left-sided when Sinistero went off. I thought Aronson was on the right for most of the first half. So yeah, I thought when he was on the left-hand side, I thought he was okay, but obviously stayed on for the full 90 minutes, and for me, his rating dropped with the defensive weaknesses, mainly towards the last 5-10 minutes of the game. Actually, it was only really the last 5-10 minutes I started seeing him getting dribbled past quite a bit, but I actually had him on an 8 until the last 10 minutes, then I dropped him down to a 7.5. So yeah, we're very interestingly opposite ends of the scale.
I just can't think of anything Jack Harris has done in that game that's maybe particularly on the ball, off the ball, that's maybe really particularly impressed me, to be honest. I'm not saying Jack Harrison shouldn't start the season. Of course he should start the season, but yeah, I think it's been a bit of an underwhelming pre-season, to be honest with you, for Jack so far. But look, we'll move on.
I think he's been one of our better players in pre-season. I mean, that's just from, I think he's probably played the most minutes, I'm guessing off the top of my head. Him, Koch, Stroy, them three will probably have played the most. But from what I've seen of him, I think he seems annoyingly to suit the Jesse Marsch way of football a lot better than he suited the last 3 months of Bielsa's football, which hurts to say. He looks like a better player under Marsch, weirdly enough, than he did it towards the end of Bielsa.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I just can't think of anything in pre-season that's particularly stood. I'm not saying he's been poor, but there's nothing really I can think of that's really stood out, to be honest with you. I think since we've been in Australia, I think obviously that first game against Blackpool, he was excellent in. But it's at the end of the day, it's Blackpool. I don't really disrespect Blackpool, but in terms of we're playing higher quality opposition, maybe not so much Brisbane Roar, but I don't know. Well, okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Brendan Aronson, who moved all over the pitch as well, a bit like Jack Harrison positionally. Again, Brendan Aronson, I don't know. It wasn't. I think he played excellently against Villa, to be honest, but today a little bit underwhelming for me. I went 6 on Brendan Aronson.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why. There was times where I kind of thought he was a bit absent in the game, and I think it took him a while to sort of grow into it. And bearing in mind he only stayed on for the first half, he was taken off at half time. I can see why you would keep him on a 6. But same for me. I gave him the same as I gave Harrison, and maybe it is the fluidity with which that front four were getting used to each other and trading positions. And I like the way that we press. I think it seems to have sunk in for the players that have managed to get minutes so far. And there was a few nice touches from Aronson. I'll be honest, I am so far I'm not got from him what I was expecting. I'm expecting to be blown away, and I haven't been. But for today, I gave him 7.5. I actually think he was all right, especially growing into the game the last 15 minutes of the first half. But I think his energy in terms of the way that he presses, I think for the last few seasons, we've always said it's probably Jack Harrison is our most pressy. I don't know what's the word for that, the most pressy player we have, but I'd say Aronson would give him a run for his money in that he will just chase anything. Joffy's probably up there as well now, but I thought that maybe that's what's influenced my rating of the front four. I thought the back four in the first half were pretty poor, and then as you progressed up the pitch, I thought it got slightly more encouraging without creating too many chances. I think that was the only thing that let us down. We didn't really create much at all in the whole game.
That's the thing. That's maybe why I've been a little bit more harsher with the ratings, because I did feel the opportunities.
It's usually the other way around. It's usually me being mean to everybody and you wanting to climb up.
Wasteful today. That's the frustration for me. I thought the whole front four was just so wasteful. If it was taking chances, getting shots off, getting into the right positions, I just felt it all round. It was very, very wasteful today. And to be honest, the guy who came off after 10, 15 minutes, Sinisterra, I thought showed some really nice touches before obviously going off injured. And that's a massive concern to me, because I think Sinisterra is very much the closest in terms of profile that we have to Rafinha in terms of having that 1v1 threat, that ability to create a moment out of nothing. I don't feel that Jack Harrison, Dan James, Brendan Aronson have that as much. I think they're more system players. I think Sinisterra just gives you something outside the system in terms of being able to do things outside of combinations and that lot and off the ball runs. I think he just has that good technical quality to his game. And again, that pass into Bamford, yes, Bamford's timed his run not very well, but again, just that little bit of vision, that touch. He's looking one way, he's passing the ball the other way. It's just breaking down past his block. And I don't really feel, yes, there were some nice combinations, but I can't think of any other moment where anyone's showing anything like that kind of intent, if that makes sense. But listen, since Sinisterra came off after 10 minutes. I can't really give him a rating, to be honest with you, because he's played 10 minutes of the match. Should we move on to Bamford?
Yeah, if you want, I was just quickly going to say I did give him a rating, but again, it's literally just 6.5 because he was only on the pitch for like 12 minutes. But just a couple of the things that you quickly touched on there, like I would say from what I was expecting anyway, from Brendan Aronson for me should be what you just said about Sinisterra, where someone that isn't just a system player and does have a bit of that moment of magic. That's what I was kind of expecting. That's what I haven't seen yet, so I'm waiting to see a bit more of that. And then just going back to Harrison, that one through ball for Joffrey where he ends up chipping the keeper and we get a corner. There was a couple of moments. There were few and far between. It was a very boring game to watch, I'll be honest. But there was a couple of good balls in there. I think Greenwood had.
I'm being honest, mate. Well. I don't like. I'm genuinely a bit worried now with the Sinisterra injury in terms of the start of the season because it's normally 3, 4, possibly longer than that weeks.
I'd say 4 to 6.
A hamstring injury.
Yeah,
possibly
6 if it's genuinely done it.
It depends. Yeah, it depends how bad. It's grade 1, grade 2. If we're being optimistic, we're looking at least 3 weeks. You count 3 weeks from now. That's a Southampton game. Probably won't play the Southampton game. You're going on to the Chelsea games. So that's the first 2 games. Yeah. Probably the more winnable games out of our first sort of 6 or 7 games.
You're confident already, aren't you?
No. Listen, I'm 100% behind that. Wolves and Southampton, in terms of the start of the season, I think in terms of the first 7 or 8 games, if I'm picking out ones where I think we're going to pick up points, they would be it, to be honest with you. Honest. I think, obviously Chelsea's in there, Brentford's in there, still quite awkward-ish games. I feel like if we can get, 3, 4 points from those first 2, it's massive. But I think James, Harrison, Aronson, Bamford, it's decent, but
I get what you're about to say.
If you add a Sinisterra to that, you get more space then for Harrison to play, more space for Aronson to play. He's someone who can commit 2 players like Rafinha did. It's like when Rafinha missed games for Leeds, and it's a concern. And listen, it's not like me to not be positive in that lot, but I just see some spaces in that squad at this moment in time in terms of that we haven't filled yet in terms of the transfer window. Listen, there's still time, but it just wasn't very reassuring today, to be honest. But let's just move on to Patrick Bamford. Bamford, I thought, was okay. Another 6 for me, to be honest. I don't know how many players are giving a 6, but I just thought it was okay.
Yeah, look, I get it, and I've done the same as before. I've gone slightly higher just because I thought I like the way the front 4 worked.
This is a first, you consistently going higher than what I've got.
Like I said, mate, the back 4, back 5, I thought was really poor first half. And the moving up higher up the pitch, I thought you could see that things were being worked on. You could see that things are starting to at least click with the players that spent the most time on the pitch together. And I was quite pleased with the way that we pressed and the way that we went about trying to win the ball back. Like we've both said at different points, like I'm not the biggest fan of the idealisms behind this this strategy that we're probably going to employ this season, but I was glad to see that it isn't a 4-2-2-2. It is looking like a 4-2-3-1. The 4-2-3-1. I've heard people like Phil Hay say like it's more like a 4-2-2-2 because it's quite narrow. I don't see it as being quite narrow. I think the wingers have been quite wide. So I'm not seeing that.
It feels like that to me. This like narrative about us being really narrow. It's kind of me.
I don't think we have been.
One person's kind of said it. Yeah, and it must be right, kind of thing. You watch it thinking, no, most of our chances. Games assist for Gelhardt. The goals against Blackpool. You can't say against Blackpool we didn't have width. But our fullbacks are basically playing on the wing against Blackpool.
Yeah, exactly, mate. I think it's bollocks for me. I think the fullbacks have been how we've created chances in the other 3 games.
To be honest, I get that the wide players are more narrow. I'm not going to say that's not the case, but that's not a problem because as long as the theory is the fullbacks effectively become touchline wingers in this system, and it has led to some chances. That I don't feel like that's the problem for Leeds at this moment in time. I just think it's other little bits and pieces. It's the bigger problem for Leeds. I think ultimately the striker situation. Really, have we? Yeah. Now that Bamford hasn't been fully at it, it just hasn't fully gelled. But
I'll be honest as well, like on the striker thing, just while we're on Bamford, And this is going to sort of reflect a bit about what I might say about Rodrigo, maybe not so much Joffrey because he's a bit different, but especially in the last game as well, when we didn't end up doing a player ratings for that, I made some sort of notes as to how I felt about the game. But similar today, similar to every game so far in pre-season, maybe take Blackpool out. I think the 4-2-3-1, whilst it does give us width in those wide areas with obviously the fullbacks overlapping the wingers, and we have a 5 across the front behind that striker. When they do that, for me, the only players that have looked pretty peripheral throughout all of the games that we played so far in pre-season, minus Blackpool, have been the strikers. So Bamford, Rodrigo, even at times Joffrey today. I think apart from pressing, I don't really see too much of what the striker does in this system. He seems to press and then help us win the ball back, but not be the person in the position to get the chances anyway, because the fullbacks are bombing down. Most of the chances were falling to Dan James in the last few games, or maybe Harrison or Joffrey today. But I haven't really seen Patrick Bamford, apart from like having one pot shot today, sort of really have a chance created for him. And Rodrigo the same when he was up front. I think the striker, I'd like to sort of see someone else come in, and someone else come in that can actually sort of do what you said about the Rafinha thing. Obviously, we have who we have now, but if we can bring a striker in that can occupy 2 players, maybe we can bring someone in better than Bamford. Like, look, we all love Patrick
Just
Bamford,
elevate the quality for me. I think that's the main thing. Just elevating, just that, getting rather than having, we've got a lot of 7 out of 10 players. I just want that 1, 8 or 9 out of 10 wow player like Rafinha or Phillips and that lot. But just conscious of time, let's just go to the substitutions. I'm going to leave this a little bit more to you, Phil, because second half, I kind of assume it's a bit on and off. So, the second half is depressing. But so just looking for numbers here, Phil, just numbers. Okay.
Rocker, I just went a 6, to be honest. I didn't see too much great from him, and he was only on for 25 minutes in total.
𝐃𝐎𝐖𝐍𝐋𝐿?
Slightly lower. I went 5.5. I didn't think him or Klich, they both came on at the same time, didn't they? I didn't think they were anywhere near as good as Adams and Forshaw in the first half.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think they even went a level lower than the other two from what I can see. 𝐃𝐎𝐿?
6.5. Again, I like him at left back. I think he's probably the best one so far.
Okay. Someone who else I don't think's performed as well in pre-season, Sam Greenwood.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I've gone 6, but at times he was lower. I think that pass through to Joffrey bumped him up, but I don't think he's had a good pre-season, I'll be honest.
And Joffrey himself, what would you say to Joffrey today?
Again, maybe rose-tinted spectacles, but I gave him 7. Just for the pressing and the shot.
I was thinking more along the lines of maybe a 6, but okay.
Somerville 7. I actually thought he had a really good game when he came off the bench.
Really?
Yeah, well, he won the penalty. I know we don't give higher marks just based on one little thing, but I thought he was quite exciting. For me, the second half, the only thing that was worth watching was really Somerville and 𝐾𝐿. The rest of it was pretty shit.
Well, yeah, based on the minutes I saw of that second half, I thought 𝐃𝐎𝐿, to be honest, looked a little bit lightweight, to be honest, just a little bit lightweight. But listen, he'll obviously be working on that. Dan James?
Just a 6, to be honest. It's another one where if you would have started on a 6, you would have known he was there and you'd have ended on a 6.
Okay. Rodrigo, your favourite player, Rodrigo, gets the goal again.
Yeah, got the goal and is still the worst player I have here. I give him a 5. I thought he was fucking terrible.
Okay.
That's honestly, there's no agenda in there whatsoever.
I know if you take the penalty out of it,
the penalty I genuinely bumped him up because of the penalty. Like, his passing was just as bad as it always is. Like, takes forever to make a decision.
I just knew as soon as you said Rodrigo, you were going to go 5 anyway. If you missed the penalty, it'd be like a 2 or something.
There was 2 or 3 little back heel flicks that were all right and link up play, but generally
it wasn't just Rodrigo though.
When he's got time to actually like measure a pass, you can guarantee it'll just end up. And I think everyone's probably already seen the tweet where you can see him one-on-one with the keeper, but you can't see Aronson or whoever it is in the shot. And obviously it goes out for a throw-in. But that was just one of them moments where I knew what was going to happen the second he was put through. I was like, not a fucking chance we score here. And
then just to finish, Klich out of 10.
Same as 𝐃𝐎𝐖𝐍𝐋𝐄. I thought they were both slightly under par, 5.5 when they came on.
Yeah, I'd go along with something like that as well. But yeah, I guess that's it, guys. That is the bit more of a quick fire player ratings because I do need to jump off at 8 o'clock. Big thanks to Phil again. I think, Phil, we should have a general chat about just pre-season in general in terms of tactically. I feel like I've seen enough now. You know, there was no point in talking like last season about tactics. I never felt it was the Jesse Marsh team last season. You know, he's not made the recruitment at that point. Now we've seen the signings come in. We've seen the fullbacks a little bit more attack-minded. Potentially, hopefully, we might see another left-back arrive, another striker arrive. Let's do a video on Jesse Marsh's tactics. Let's have a little run through it, both statistically and what we see with our eyes. I think that'd be a good little video. I think I don't know about you, Phil. I feel like I've seen enough now to say.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Idea of how it's going to go.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've seen enough to sort of have a good idea of how things are going to take shape, and I'm more enthused about it than I thought I was going to be. But at the same time, I'm still not sat here thinking top 10's on. I'm thinking 13th to 15th is on.
Yeah, it's madness at this point saying top 10's on with me. But anyway, guys, listen, we'll leave it there. Massive thanks to Phil as always on that very positive note. Make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Plenty more content to come from All These TV. We'll leave it there, guys. Have a great weekend, and yeah, we will see you later. Cheers, guys.